Hello, love, and welcome back to the Unshakable Soul Podcast. My name is Sofia Masikat, and I am your host here. And this is a podcast where we unravel the mystery and the magic of our human experiences. And for today, I have a very personal journey I want to share with you. And it is one that happened about 4 days ago. And I'd love to share with you this journey and to offer you the wisdom that I've extracted from it, and a reflection question and a little practice that you can take, if you like, into your life. And the big thematic here is really about listening to the wisdom of our body. And this is going to be flavoring this whole episode, and also it flavors all of the conversations that I like to have. It's this forging of a relationship with yourself, with your truth, with this physical body that houses so much wisdom, so much intelligence. And oftentimes it comes down to simply allowing ourselves to listen, to feel, and to integrate that. So, I always love to offer a little bit of context. And right now, the context is quite interesting when we look at the energy, what's happening around us, so in nature, up in the sky, and how it's affecting us. So right now in the Northern Hemisphere, we are in full bloom. We are in summer. We are in Leo season. We also are in Lionsgate Portal for those that follow the astrology. I don't want to dive too much into that, but here is essentially what this could feel like. There is a lot of fire energy. There is an invitation for us to step into self-expression, being seen, opening up, authenticity. It also touches the sensitivity of our heart, the heart space. It also brings up the leadership quality in us, and to have the courage to lead from a place of truth, of authenticity, of love. Yet in the same time, this is the interesting aspect right now, and I'm recording this August 5th, we're in the shedding phase of the moon. So the moon is reflected by the sun, as we know. The moon is our inner landscape. The sun is the conscious part of our experiences. You could say it's the waking state, and the moon is this sleeping state. Not to say it's dormant, because when you're sleeping, you're dreaming, whether you're conscious about it or not. It's the subconscious. So right now, in the shedding phase of the moon, we're in a phase of more introspection, integration, release, letting go, realizing perhaps that there are things that no longer are fitting right. And I mean that in all the sense that you can feel it. Like something just feels off. And this phase a lot of the time asks us to start creating space for us to listen to that crunch, to feel that, misfit, misalignment, and to allow ourselves to gently release that. Whatever that is that we are holding on to, usually for fear of what's going to happen if I let it go. Right? That relationship, that belief, that way of being, that habit, that pattern. There could be many things, that project, and that thing, person, place, or project could have lit you up even a month ago, or a year ago, 6 months ago. But now, like, so much has happened. Does it still feel true for you? So, what I want to offer here, before I dive into my own story, is that oftentimes we're associating like summertime, yes, as being out there, being expressive, being spontaneous, and these are also Leo energies and the characteristics that we all have, the trait that we all have. Out there, being seen, voicing yourself. But I want to invite in that moon aspect that we're in right now, the waning gibbous moon. Oftentimes, can we actually be courageous enough to be honest with ourselves? And I'm not saying being honest with other people and sharing your truth. Yes, there is a moment when you're going to vocalize your honesty, perhaps. But let's remember that the most important person you have to be honest with first is you. Because everything else in your life is a reflection of your truth, of the honesty you have with yourself, of your beliefs. Everything else is an external manifestation of what is going on here. That's why I love working with the moon, with all the archetypes, because they're all flavoring this beautiful inner landscape that we have, and inevitably is going to influence everything that we are creating in our lives. So, my personal experience. I found myself on a Monday, which already, on Mondays are moon days, so there's a planetary aspect for every day of the week. So we're not only working with the monthly rhythms, we can also work with the daily rhythms and the weekly rhythms of nature to really help us to anchor into the specific flavor and invitation of each day. And you can even work for the day. What is moving through me through the day? And on this Monday, Mondays are moon days, so it's ruled by the moon. I know to not have any client calls, not have any meetings on Mondays. Mondays is my anything goes day. I'm either like prepping my week, or it's like emotional up and down. And usually it's emotional up and down, anything goes. So really allowing my schedule to be so flexible, basically nothingness. And I caught myself rushing my morning because I had told somebody that I'd be going to an event. So already my mind was trying to piece together, okay, well, you have this amount of time. So your morning practice, then you wanted to do a podcast, right? You wanted to do a podcast, so you have this amount of time. And then you have this. And I was finding myself trying to over-structure my Monday, which usually is not structured. I found myself rushing my mornings that I love to have just go at my own pace in my morning, and early morning, move with the flow, go swimming. But I was rushing my swim because again, I was on a schedule. And this is my biggest healing. The belief that there's not enough time. This scarcity mindset, this fear of not having enough time. So I know that this is a deep-rooted pattern that I have. And again, this is all a repercussion also of the full moon, July 28th, that was in Aquarius. And there was conjunct Pluto. And Pluto is all about putting the shadow up into consciousness, bringing back all the patterns, all the ways that are really keeping you in this rut. So this is also an integration of that. See, all these cycles are tied in together. When we look at it with the bird's eye view, we're like, oh, it makes sense. But anyways, in the thick of it, I was like, what the fuck, Sophia? This Monday. So this event I didn't end up going to, because what happened was that my body started to tell me, whoa. I had lunch and I was going to go to the event right after lunch. And I was rushing my lunch because I didn't want to be late. This event was like a long event and you didn't need to be there at a specific time per se. But a part of me was like, oh, well, there's going to be this person. There was a little bit of FOMO creeping in, to be honest. And my stomach, I had lunch and then it just felt off. It's like I didn't have a stomach bug, but there was something that wasn't being digested properly. And that's when it clicked to me. I was like, whoa. So I went outside on the deck in some shade and I laid there and I placed both hands on my womb space. And I usually like to chill after my lunch. I just take like 5-10 minutes just basking in the sun or in the shade, depending on the weather, and just breathing. And at this point, I just started to cry. Because my body was telling me, slow the fuck down and listen to me. And I was in a conflict because a part of me wanted to go to this event that happens once a year. It's in Ottawa and I wanted to see people there, and maybe I had the idea that maybe I'll meet new people because I'm in a stage where I'm like, oh, I don't know about this community or these people that I know here and if it's still vibing and not. Anyways, sparing you all the details, but giving you a general sense of this inner conflict, and then my body saying clearly, something is off. And I didn't know back then. Now I've integrated. But in the moment, the only thing that was true was my body and my connection to my body. And sitting with the feeling of maybe disappointing people that were waiting for me at the event. And at the end, it's an illusion. There's no disappointment. But there's still a feeling of letting people down because I told them I would go. And I'm sure some listeners here can relate to that. So I chose not to go, and I texted the people that were waiting for me, quote unquote, sorry, I'm not feeling well, I'm not going. And what I did instead, and I had in my mind that I was going to do a podcast later in the evening, and I was like, what the fuck, Sophia? So what I did in that moment, I asked my body, what do you need? And immediately it said water. So I packed my journal because I'm like, some things are definitely going to be flowing. So I always, when I go on a little walk, I always have my journal with me just in case any downloads come. And I go along the river and I was like, I don't feel like going in the water. Plus it had rained the night before. So the water looked kind of brown, not super inviting, but I definitely need to be next to water. And I love basking on rocks, because it offers me those dual qualities of the element of earth and water. And I had all the elements. I had the sun, I had the breeze, I had the water and the earth. It was beautiful. And I had the space. I had nothing to do that day. now that I said no to the event and I was like, Sophia, you're not doing a fucking podcast today. Hey, it's not your day for podcasts. Usually it's Wednesday, like today. So I stayed there for 2 fucking hours. I cried, I journaled, I wrote poetry, I spoke to fishermen. I just looked at the horizon. I was touching my body, just feeling the energy shifting, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It's what I needed. Slowly, I came back home, and then I opened my laptop, and this is where it all made sense. I received an email from a collaboration I was super excited about, like a month ago when we chatted, and this email that I received was telling me that they were no longer going to move forward with the collaboration. And of course, something in me like sunk this vision I had of the collaboration, this excitement I had with the possibility of what this collaboration could bring about, growth and expansion and freedom and abundance and everything. And of course, I've been through a lot of rejections in my life, and I've now realized they're beautiful redirections. But I will not deny that in that moment, I was sad, frustrated. I definitely was going through an emotion, a human experience, and I was like, oh, okay, this is happening. Because at that point, there was another event that was going to happen, another dance event. And I was like, oh, maybe I can go to that because my stomach was feeling better after I had digested some things by the water. So I had gotten all ready. And then I looked at this email. And I'm not saying that this hampered and hindered my enthusiasm to go dancing later at night, but I had realized that what I really needed right now was to feel held and to be with myself. It was not a moment for me to be social and in an event that was going to perhaps have 100 people. So in that moment, that second opportunity to choose honestly, I was all dressed up and ready to go. And I received this email. And I just placed my hands on my body and I was like, what do I need right now? And what came to me was my favorite pine trees, which are just in the neighborhood here. And I went. I closed my laptop. I went all dressed up. I went to the pine trees and it was beautiful because the sun was setting and the pine trees were just about to hit the tip. The sun was just about to hit the tip of the pine trees. So I went to that edge of the big soccer field and just sat down with my back resting on a tree. And again, I just started to cry. It was just a beautiful release. A beautiful release of what I thought was going to be the next months and perhaps years of my life. That beautiful yearly rhythm with this collaboration. Right? This is tough. I was grieving in that moment. And it was beautiful because with the grieving also came the remembrance that there is something truer and more aligned for you coming. Because again, I've gone through this so many times. Consciously and unconsciously, the grieving process. And every time it gets easier because I remember that I can trust myself. That whatever rejection is not saying that I am not competent, that I am not worthy. It is simply the universe redirecting me to what actually is in alignment with me, with my path. And this is tough because you can't see it. Well, I thought, because I was creating a vision in my mind. But a lot of the times when we're navigating in life, you can have a plan, you can have a vision, But we have to be ready to pivot, to adapt, to maintain this flexibility. And I've had to learn that because I'm very fixed. I'm about maintaining things. I'm, of course, nurturing and creating and very good at deleting and destroying. But that in-between phase of like holding on and letting go, that's crunchy as fuck. And I know I'm not alone here in navigating that. And that's what I've devoted my life to. And my service in this life is to guide people as well on this transition, whatever transition we're going through. The liminal phase, what you thought was going to be and what is actually reality and what is yet to become. This is like the void and a place where a lot of people can feel uncomfortable with, yet it is a place that holds so much fertility, so much expansiveness if we can only allow ourselves to be in that space long enough and to trust when we choose to let go. Choose to let go of that vision that you're holding on to, of the one path that you're holding on to. Maybe there's multiple paths that you can't see, but we're holding on to this one path. We're holding on to this one person, to this one project, to this one way of becoming successful or making it work or getting income or getting fit or whatever your dream is, whatever you want to create. So in that moment, there was of course, a physical release, but also this deep remembrance that I'm held. And I love to go to my sit spot and utilize that earth energy to remind me of that. Leaning back on the tree trunk, anchoring my seat bones, just visualizing the roots going down, being nurtured by Mother Earth. Opening my palms, opening my arms to the sky, seeing the sun, feeling the setting sun. It's not so hot. It's not a midday sun. It's an evening, night setting sun. It's softer. It's a gentle glow. It's reminding me that my gifts are here to be shared. Your gifts are here to be shared. And don't let anybody diminish them. And to trust your own timing, knowing that the sun never really sets. It's just this cycle that we're in. And that honoring the release phase is just as important as honoring what is being birthed. And sometimes we can't see. A lot of times we can't see what's being birthed. We can't tangibly see it. And that's the greatest practice for a lot of people that are choosing to live consciously and co-create their reality. Well, a big part of that is trusting the natural rhythms of life. Trusting your own body, trusting your intuition. Learning to surrender your dreams, your goals, your vision to the greatest unfolding for you. And maybe that includes avenues that you didn't even think or imagine were possible for you. And this is the practice. We stay anchored and grounded in what matters most to us, in our body, our values. And also we stay open in our hearts, discerning in our mind, cutting through the bullshit, your own bullshit and other people's bullshit, so that our decisions flow with greater ease. Okay. So So to wrap up this story, I returned home, and my mom was waiting because she was gonna let me her car to go to this event. I told her I'm not going, and I just stayed home, and I had a really nourishing conversation with my mom, which doesn't always happen. It rarely happens. Some of you may know my journey, and a big trigger for me has been my mom, and a big awakening for me has been my mom. And along with my mom, it's been this house, it's been Ottawa, it's been Canada, it's been everything that I've been resisting for a lot of my 20s. And it's all been perfect and just pointing me back to me. So that conversation I had with her in that moment, where I was sharing vulnerably what I went through, what I've just shared with you all, was such a beautiful homecoming as well, which made me realize how far I've come, and that it actually is safe to change your mind, to pivot, to trust your body, to slow down, and to share your truth. Even if it feels vulnerable, to share your heart, to open your heart, that Leo energy. Because at the end of the day, the biggest teaching that I've been receiving is, you say you want connection, you say you want intimacy, but are you courageous enough to actually open yourself to that? To connect deeply to yourself, to your truth, to take the space and the time to actually go within, and then to share that inner world with people that you trust, with people that nourish you, that inspire you, that maybe also trigger you. So this teaching is ever evolving. It's not perfect at all. I will never say that I'm perfect. I'm never say that I'm done or reached a certain destination, because I've noticed that this is just ever evolving. It's like a work of art. We're all works of art. I like to see it this way. Just ever evolving works of art. There's never really an end product. There's only good enough. And allowing yourself to experience life and to meet life with honesty, with truth, to have the courage to speak, even if your voice shakes, to have the courage to say no and sit with that disappointment, to have the courage to allow your tears to fall when you're maybe used to holding them that back. And to have the courage to stay in that uncertainty, in that void, in that phase of your life maybe where you no longer feel as though you fit in the familiar. It no longer feels so comfortable. Yet you don't really know what you fully want. Or you're in this space of discovery, which is a beautiful phase, and not a lot of people like to be in that. They either hang on to what's familiar, either it's rushing, either it's always achieving and striving, it's, swallowing your tears, putting on a facade, it's maybe always in a relationship, never single, right? We're clinging on to that because that's what's known. At least it's known. Or we're always on to the next new thing. We're always reaching for the high, something new. So we're... But seldom can we find ourselves in the in-between when we allow what is really no longer nourishing us to dissolve gently, with love, with reverence. Thank you. Honoring that season in your life and gently opening yourself up to the realm of possibilities, of abundance, of joy, of connection that is just waiting for you to open up your arms to. Really, that's it. Because unconsciously, a lot of us are like this. Because we're in our ways, we're in our ruts, we're in our routines, we're in our familiarity. We're also maybe in the perpetual belief that we need to heal, that we need to be fixed, that we're broken. We have all these diagnoses that doctors tell us. So slowly but surely it could hamper us and make us believe that we're not worthy, or we don't deserve, or it's not possible for us to experience certain things in life. But what if that was a lie? What if healing is really about just remembering how to listen to ourselves and to the truth in our hearts? The steady beat of your heart that always brings you home to your breath. You're not always inhaling all the time. Remember, there's an exhale to your breath. So when we allow ourselves to have these moments of coming home, of softening back into your body, when a lot of us, find ourselves in our minds, always on to the next thing. Worried, anxious, in our concepts. We can get lost in the concepts, in too much information. We come back, dropping our awareness back into our bodies and moving from this place. The last learning that I want to share is that notion that I mentioned at the beginning, the rushness. Because I had found myself on this schedule because this event was going to happen. And unfortunately, this is the pace that we're in right now in Western modern day society. This productivity, doingness, busyness, rushness. We're like applauded for how much we do during the day, how much we achieve. And unconsciously or very consciously, we're searching for the accolades, for the applause. But oftentimes, we're overriding what we actually deeply desire. Presence, connection, intimacy, acceptance, resting, allowing ourselves to rest even if the world keeps going. We forgot that rest is productive. We forgot that slowing down is part of nature. The shedding is part of the cycle. So in summer season, remember that there are still rhythms that go through each season that you can attune to. And right now, August 5th, we're in the shedding phase. We're going down to the new moon. Your energy maybe is slowly diminishing. You may feel a little bit more frustrated or impatient. And this has nothing to do with the external world. It has everything to do with how you relate to your own body, to your own rhythm, and to the world, to what you believe is possible for you. Do I believe I'm able to slow down? Do I believe I'm able to set boundaries? Do I believe I'm able to let go of this job, project, person? Maybe you're not breaking up with your partner, for example, but there's a dynamic at play that you're obviously feeding into as well. Is there a loosening here? Is there a shift happening? What shift could that be? Okay, so this phase that we're in is, again, we're integrating again the clarity we received in the full moon. And this usually brings up uncomfortable truths that we have to sit with, should we choose to, that we have to move through. And at the end, accept. And in that acceptance, there is peace. There's trust. And there's an opening that creates itself for something newer and truer to take its place. But first, there's the emptying. So we're emptying out. Okay? So a reflection here is, where in your life might you be holding on a little too tightly? Is there a belief you have that something has to be a certain way? And usually when we hold on very tightly, there is a fear associated in letting go. Who will I become if I let go of this money income, of this person, because I'm so enmeshed in them? In this identity, in the status, what will people think of me? In this role, maybe I'm the caregiver. What will happen if I stop carrying this for this person? If I stop making the lunchbox for my kids all the time, what will happen? He won't eat, he'll die. Is that true? We question the belief beneath the belief. What do we need to remember if we are really to free ourselves from our own weeds? That we're always supported? We're always guided, loved? Can we look for that positive reference instead of always looking for the negative? What's going wrong, quote unquote? At the end, nothing's going wrong. We're only receiving information and messages. Everything is just an information. Okay? So if you want to take this into a practice during your day, I'll invite you to offer yourself maybe 10 minutes, quiet minutes, each day. Go outside if possible, in your favorite spot in nature. Leave your phone behind. And intuitively let your body guide you to that spot. And you can lay down or sit down. Take a few deep breaths. Noticing the environment, maybe the birds, the wind, the ground beneath you. And when you find yourself settling, just even a little bit, you can ask yourself out loud or inside, what am I holding on to right now? What is my body trying to tell me? What am I holding on to? What is my body trying to tell me? And what do I need? What do I need to remember? What do I need right now? Maybe in the form of support. Maybe you need a hug. Maybe you need to cry. Maybe you need to say no to that thing. Just like I did. 2 events in one day, I was like, peace. But for me to say no, there was a lot of crunch there. But that's the work. Okay. So, this is also great preparation work for the solar eclipse happening August 12th. A solar eclipse is essentially a new moon on crack. So generally at this time, we are in a stage of planting seeds, of manifestation, of envisioning what you wish to see grow for the next 6 months. And since it is a solar eclipse, there's an extra power to it that there are things that could be coming into your life that are from left field. Right now, things could be taken away from your life that are unexpected. We are learning to become okay with that, to be okay with change. This is the big practice for eclipse season and for this moment in time. Can we stay connected to our hearts? Can we stay open and grounded? This is the practice. Grounded in my values, connected to my body, to my intuition, to my spider senses, and open to what life wants to reveal to me. My gifts, my strength, where I'm misaligned, where I am aligned, what's calling me. Stay curious. Okay. So now we're listening. We're gently releasing. We're slowing down our pace. And we're becoming attuned to a deeper wisdom. All right. This episode feels complete. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And if this episode resonated with you in any way, I'd love to continue having this conversation inside the Hearth. So the Hearth is my free online community for women, and this is where we explore these thematics, such as embodiment, authenticity, and learning to live with the cycles and rhythms within us and also around us in nature and in the cosmos. And once we understand more of these rhythms and patterns within and without, we can actually navigate this life with greater ease and grace. Okay? So you'll find the link in the show notes if you wish to join the Hearth. We'd love to have you there. Thank you, thank you. Until next time, remember to be gentle with yourself. And remember that your body is often the first place where truth arises.